I'm putting out my projected week 1 depth chart. You gotta love college football coverage, certainly, don't you? Let's start on the offensive side of the football with the signal caller, the quarterback position. Now, I love both of these guys in the quarterback battle, both Dante Moore and Austin Novosad right now. But this was one of the easier starter backups to really chart right now. I just think Dante Moore, and I think you saw a little bit of in the spring game where Dante Moore can just do a little bit more than Austin Novosad can. Like, Austin made some good throws in this game, but I think Dante made some throws that get you out of your seat a little bit. That throw on the first drive where he kind of just touched it over a linebacker for like 20 to 25 yards to Kenyon Sadiq. The throw on the sideline to Jurian Dickey with a defender right on him was just right there, right in the breadbasket. It gets you excited. It was kind of a flash of what we certainly could see. I think the big thing for Dante, based on kind of what we've seen at UCLA and kind of the small sample size, I think is going to be decision making. If he makes good decisions, if he takes care of the football, and I think some of that goes on the play calling, because Will Stein, one thing that this offense has certainly emphasized, taking care of the football. Don't waste possessions. Even if it results in being efficient and taking short passes, Oregon has fantastic playmakers to catch and run, keep the sticks moving, and put points on the board. Okay, so I think that's going to be a big point of emphasis with Dante. We know we want to see him really unleash those big plays down the field, but we're going to see some more efficiency that we've seen from Oregon's offense in the past as well. I think Austin Novosad is one of the best backup quarterbacks in college football. I have a lot of confidence that if Dante Moore were not able to go, if he's injured, whatever, Austin can step in and he can win as many games as Dante could at the quarterback position. I certainly don't think there is a big-time drop-off, right? There's not a major drop-off. There might not even be a minor drop-off with Austin at quarterback. So I love what we have from a starter and backup perspective at the quarterback position. Let's head over to running back. Was kind of rewatching some of these spring press conferences, and I stopped on Rashad Samples. And he's saying, man, this running back room is so dynamic. It's so deep. I need to call the NCAA to see if we can to see if we can play with 2 footballs to get all of these guys the football. And he talked about how each one of these running backs, the skill sets kind of complements the other. I think the skill set that certainly stands out above the rest is Makhi Hughes. I think Makhi Hughes is certainly going to be the starting running back. Transfer out of Tulane, had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons over there for the Green Wave. You went out and got a talent like that for a reason, and that's to be RB1 to replace Jordan James. Now, when I look at Makhi Hughes, when I look at Noah Whittington, I see very much point A to point B, straight ahead type of runners. Now, they can certainly bounce it to the outside. They can certainly do their thing. But they're gonna I think run in a pretty straight line like that, and that's what I love. I love that power mentality. We saw it last year from Noah Whittington. Of course, everybody's going to replay that Ducks versus them clip when he just absolutely truck sticks somebody over there at the goal line. I remember watching Makhi Hughes' press conference this spring. I'm like, dude, the guy looks like a freaking defensive end. Looks like a middle linebacker. Like, this guy is absolutely shredded in there. He's going to be really tough to tackle. I think the thing when you turn on the film from Makhi Hughes is when he bursts through that hole, it's really hard for one guy to bring him down. So he's not only going to maybe even sometimes seek out contact, but he's going to be able, it's going to take a few guys to certainly bring him down. So I think he's going to be getting into the secondary certainly a good amount. You cannot I know there's a lot of excitement with some of these young guys in the running back room, but you just can't glance over Noah Whittington. The production that he's been able to do, I've said it before, I think he's a perfect 1B type of back. He had some really explosive runs. Now, shorter explosive runs, but still some really good runs, I think, in the spring game. And then you got to talk about Dink Riggs. I put Makhi Hughes as my starter, and then Noah Whittington or Dink Riggs as my backup right now. I think Dink kind of provides that shiftiness. He provides that pop and that speed, I think, a little bit at the running back position as well. I think Dink, I know he didn't maybe have a spring game quite like Jaden Lamar. More on him here in just a minute. But I think he's going to, based on what we're hearing from the coaches and what we're hearing from some of these behind the scenes reports, like he's going to be, I think, in that conversation. I think if maybe Oregon wants a little bit more shiftiness, like I said, on the field, or they want a little bit more speed on the field, they're going to look to Dink Riggs. I really wanted to maybe try to put Jaden Lamar. I think Jaden Lamar, including myself, I thought he could be a guy that could possibly transfer out during the spring. But I think we're maybe we're shortchanging Jaden Lamar a little bit. Kind of referencing back that Rashad Samples press conference, he talked about just the breakaway speed, the end line speed of somebody like Jaden. We saw it last year in the game against Oregon State where he had a touchdown run. I think that was on like a screen pass or something. And then we saw it in the spring game, the touchdown of that first drive. So if you're looking to get maybe more speed on the field, I think we're going with Jaden Lamar. I just couldn't find the right combination to put him right now in my two deep. And then you look at somebody like Jay Harris. Now, Jay Harris is somebody, and this is, once again, I hate to go back to the well, but, Samples gave some really good sound bites earlier this spring that maybe Jay Harris is that power back. Maybe he's that goal line type of back where you need a couple of really tough yards and you put in 22 like we saw it during the spring game. This was after the fumble. He came in at the goal line and he just dragged guys with him across the goal line. So I think there's so many skill sets in this running back room. I think they're all going to be utilized at different times. And I'm excited to see the creativity, but man, I love this running back room. It's one of the things I think that I'm most excited about on this Oregon team. Let's move to tight end. I talked about how quarterback was a pretty easy position to kind of handicap as far as a starter and a backup is concerned. I mean, this was easy as well. Kenyon Sadiq, of course, is the starter, and I've got Jamari Johnson, of course, as the lone backup right now. Now, here's the thing. Here's the relationship that I want to talk about when I mention both of these guys. I've talked about it ad nauseum, how big of a fan of Kenyon Sadiq that I am. We saw a little bit of it in the spring game. We even saw a little bit of it last year. This is not a guy that's consistently going to be on the end line next to the offensive tackle. Going to be in a 3-point stance, blocking, going out for routes, whatever. Typical tight end stuff. They're going to do so many things with him. He's such a unicorn. They're going to put him in the slot. They might put him out wide, which I think gives more opportunities to somebody like a Jamari Johnson at tight end. Jamari Johnson is a big body. Don't sleep on him because everybody and their mother and me are talking about Kenyon Sadiq right now and how great he is. And he's one of the top 5 tight ends in America. He could win the Makhi Award. Oh, but he's also a tremendous blocker as well. Like everybody raves about the skill set. But I could just see just throwing out a hypothetical situation. You've got Evan Stewart split out wide on one side. You've got Dante Moore on the other side. You've got Kenyon Sadiq lining up in the slot next to one of those receivers. And then you've got Jamari Johnson in there as well. Maybe a goal line situation where they can use his size to his advantage. And now when everybody's looking at all these other great targets, you've maybe got Jamari like one-on-one against a linebacker or something, or one-on-one against a smaller safety where you can post him up and really use his size to his advantage. Like, I think you could see Jamari involved maybe a little bit more than we anticipated at the tight end position. Going beyond the starter and the backup and the two-deep, Roger Sayalapaga is one guy that's coming off of an injury, and I think his health is very important to the depth right now, because after these two, there's not a ton of depth. I know they brought in Vander Ploeg. Vander Ploeg, I think, has the potential to maybe be a bigger wide receiver like a Kyler Casper. He doesn't have that typical, 240-pound, 250-pound frame that you might see in a tight end, but he certainly has the height. So I'm very curious to see which direction he could go in. I could very well see him being a bigger possession wide receiver, but if he does bulk up during his time over at Oregon, I could certainly see him being a really good tight end as well in the future. Now let's move over to the other pass catchers, that being the wide receivers. Okay, so I feel good about 2 of these wide receivers. I've got Evan Stewart starting at the X, and I've actually got Dante Moore starting inside at the F position. It also wouldn't surprise me if those 2 were flip-flop. The thing about all of these wide receivers is they can play in so many different spots. Like I was just mentioning Kenyon Sadiq playing in the slot. Like there's going to be a lot of shifting, a lot of different formational stuff that I think we're going to use. But I think Evan and DeCorian, one's going to be outside, one's going to be inside. I could see both of those guys being actually outside at any moment in time as well. So this is kind of the way I have it right now. This is kind of the way that I thought kind of fit best within the grand scheme of things. And then the Z position, like that's that wide receiver 3. And this is just an absolute coin flip. A 4-sided coin, a 5-sided coin. I don't know how many sides there are on this coin, but there's a lot of options here. I'm like, okay, if I'm setting betting odds, who do I think has the best position to be in this spot? And that's where I put Malik Benson or Jeremiah McClellan as my starter at the Z position. I kind of look around at some of the other guys. I know you've got the more experienced players in Gary Bryant Jr. or Justice Lowe, but I think they work a little bit better coming out of the slot. I actually have Bryant and Lowe. That's my or for the backup at the F position. So I've got DeCorian Moore at my starter at the F, and then the backups as Gary Bryant Jr. and Justice Lowe. So I thought they worked a little bit better off the inside of the formation. I think that's where their experience is at that particular position. I didn't think Kyler Casper or Jerrion Dickey right now could. I think Dickey has a better chance than Casper to maybe get into that role, but I just wasn't quite ready to put them into that point. So what do you have left over? You have Malik Benson transferring over from Florida State, and you have Jeremiah McClellan that got onto the field a little bit last year. So that's my or. For my Z position, Malik Benson or Jeremiah McClellan. I have Kyler Casper as my backup at the Z. I have Jerrion Dickey as my backup at the X. Two a little bit bigger bodies that certainly I think fit on the outside. You know, it wouldn't surprise me. There's been a little bit of momentum kind of going on for Jerrion Dickey right now. Wouldn't surprise me to see Dickey maybe work his way into the starter at the wide receiver Z. Like I love to see guys that are highly regarded out of high school and we know have the potential, realize that potential. I want to see Jerrion Dickey realize that potential. I'm rooting for Jerrion Dickey. And I mentioned this maybe a few weeks ago. It's like the reset in the wide receiver room with Ross Douglas coming in, I think could possibly favor a guy like Dickey to be able to maybe reinvent his career and take multiple steps up the ladder. So that's kind of how I have it laid out right now.